All right, welcome to section 3.4. So far in this chapter, we've spent a lot of time talking about adding and subtracting fractions. So we've talked about adding and subtracting like fractions, and then we talked about changing the denominator so that we could add and subtract unlike fractions. Well, what if we have mixed numbers? So there's two ways we can add and subtract mixed numbers. The first method is really to keep them as mixed numbers. So we're going to add or subtract the whole numbers. Then we can add or subtract the fractions and then simplify if needed. So for example, take a look at this first example. So we have 2 and 5/8 of something represented in green there, and we're adding 1 and 1/8. So basically what we're doing is we're taking all of the whole numbers and adding them. So in this case, our whole numbers are like our whole pizzas here. So it's 1, 2, 3 pizzas. And then we're adding our fractions together, which were the 5/8 and the 1/8, which gives us 6/8. So we end up down here with 3 and 6/8. And then we can do some simplification to get 3 3/4. Okay, let's do the next one. This is a subtraction, but I'm just going to do it on the side. So we've got 3 and 3/8, and we're subtracting 2 and 1/6. So we're going to subtract our whole numbers. 3 minus 2 gives us 1. And then we're going to have plus our fractions, which is 3/8 minus 1/6. Now we've got unlike fractions. So we're going to have to get some common denominators here. And so the way your book is doing it, your notes are doing it, is we say 3/8 and 1/6. Greatest common denominator there, least common denominator there is 24. So we have to multiply the 8 by 3 to get 24, which is what we do on top. So it's the same kind of thing we've been doing. It's just a slightly different look to it. We could have gone 3/8 equals what over 24? And we would have said we multiply by 3. And so then we're going to multiply by 3 on top to get 9. So that's basically what we're doing here. We're just noting that we had to multiply the bottom by 3, which means we have to multiply the top by 3. And then in that second fraction, then we've got 1/6. We once again are trying to get to our LCD of 24. So to get from 6 to 24, we had to multiply by 4, which means we have to multiply the top one by 4. So you can use either notation you like. This one here is a little bit faster. So we get 1, and then we've got 9 minus 4 over 24, which gives us 1 and 5 over 24. So we're going to add or subtract our whole numbers, then add or subtract our fractions. All right, let's try these two examples. So we've got 2 and 3/5 plus 3 and 3/5. So first we're going to add up our whole numbers, 2 plus 3. Then we're going to add up our fractions. So 3/5 plus 3/5. This one's going to get a little interesting. Okay, 2 plus 3 gives us 5. Then we're going to have 3/5 plus 3/5. Well, that gives us 6/5, which is greater than 1. So 6/5, if we convert that to a mixed number, that's 6 divided by 5. So we're going to get 1 remainder 1. So we're going to get 1 and 1/5. So this is the same as 5 plus 1 and 1/5. If we add those whole numbers together now, we'll get 6 and 1/5. So that would be our answer. Let's do a subtraction now. So we're going to subtract our whole numbers, 9 minus 4. And then we're going to subtract our fractions. And luckily for us, they have like denominators. So we're going to get 5, and 8 minus 3 gives us 5/12. So our answer here then is 5 and 5/12. All right, moving on to method 2, which I have to say for me is my preferred method because you don't get into the mess of having to go convert to a mixed number when you get an answer in your fraction that's greater than 1. The second method is we can just turn each of those mixed numbers into improper fractions. Then we're going to add or subtract them and simplify. Okay, so the same example we did in method 1, now we're going to convert to improper fractions. So remember, that's the boomerang. So we've got 8 times 2 gives us 16, plus 5 gives us this 21 over 8. Same thing over here, 8 times 1 gives us 8, plus 1 gives us 9, so we end up with 9 over 8. Now we can add those together to get 30 over 8, and then we're going to simplify. So once we simplify, we get 15 over 4, or we could convert to a mixed number and get 3 3/4. The second one's a little more tricky because now we have different unlike denominators. So first step, same, we're going to convert to improper fractions. So 8 times 3 gives us 24, plus 3 gives us 27. So we end up with, I'm just going to write it down again, 27 over 8. And then we've got minus, so we've got 6 times 2 is 12, plus 1 is 13 over 6. Okay, now these two are common denominator, and you can use one of the methods to figure it out. Ends up being 24. And so here we want to multiply that first fraction by 3 over 3 to get to a denominator of 24. The second fraction, we're going to have to multiply by 4 over 4 to end up with a denominator of 24. So that gives us 27 times 3 is 81. So 81 over 24 minus 13 times 4 is 52. So 52 over 24. Now we have a like fraction that we can subtract. So 81 minus 52 gives us 29. And that's over 24. Or we can convert it to a mixed number. So 29 divided by 24 is going to give us 1 with a remainder of 5. So our mixed number would be 1 and 5 over 24. So in this method, everything gets converted to improper fractions, and then you just add or subtract them as you normally would. Okay, so let's use method 2 then on this next set. So we've got 8 times 8 gives us 64, plus another 7 gives us what? 71? 71. So we've got 71 over 8 minus 8 times 5 gives us 40, plus 3 is 43 over 8. Those are like fractions, so we can just subtract the numerators. So we've got 71 minus 43, which is 28. So 28 over 8. And now we can simplify that. What can we divide by here? We can definitely divide by 2. Oh, we could divide by 4. So I'm going to divide the top and bottom by 4, which gives me 28 divided by 4 is 7. So 7 over 2. So 7 over 2 would be my final answer. Or if I converted it to a mixed number, I would get 3 1/2. All right, next one is the same, except this time we're going to have unlike denominators. So we've got 10 times 5 is 50, plus 1 is 51 over 10, plus 6 times 3 is 18, plus 1 is 19, so 19 over 6. Okay, now we're doing a question like we would have in the last section where we've got unlike denominators. So we have to find an LCD for these two. So we've got 10 and 6. I can divide out a 2 for 5 and 3, and I'm already prime, so that was easier than I thought. So our LCD is going to be 2 times 5 times 3, which is 10 times 3 or 30. So we're looking for numbers we can multiply our fractions by to end up with denominators of 30. Okay, and so here we'll multiply by 5. So 19 times 5 gives us what? 19 times 5, I get 95. And then on this upper one, we have to multiply by 3, which would give us 153. So this would be the same thing then as 153 over 30 plus 95 over 30. Okay, now I have a like denominator, so I can add those numerators together. So 153 plus 95 gives me 248 over 30. Okay, and I know I can divide both of those by 2, so let's start by doing that and then see if we can reduce any further. So that will give me what? So 248 divided by 2 gives me 124. And 30 divided by 2 gives me 15. And actually, I will not have any common factors here, so that's my final answer. Or we could convert it to a mixed number if we like. If you convert it to a mixed number, you'll end up with 8 and 4/15. Okay, these next ones then, you want to use either method 1 or 2 to add and subtract these mixed numbers. So try some of these on your own, and then we can do them together on the next video.